Lander, Timmy Brown over there in Iowa. And joining us tonight for the second time this week, we have Ben Proctor from B Pro Kennels over there in just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah, someplace. He's kind of cryptic about where it is. And one of the things we're going to be talking about today is there's some wonky stuff going on in Utah anyway, so I don't blame you for being a little bit coy there, buddy. But we did this podcast. What was it, Tim? Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that.
Tuesday or
This
Wednesday, and Zoom sucks. So
Zoom sucks, so we're in a whole new program here. We're going to re-record this, and honestly, it turned out super well because one of the things we were going to announce on the podcast, or the previous podcast we recorded, and that is lost into the internet ether someplace.
someplace.
Uh, we were going to, or you guys came up with this idea of donating the 1 season old B Pro all aluminum custom dog box that Tim had, like raffling it off, basically
Yeah.
trying to raise some money for backcountry hunters and anglers to go to this public lands fight that we are in right now. And so we announced it like Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. Must have been Tuesday.
It was, yeah, I think it was Wednesday because Thursday I went to up to Brookings, and then that was when all
Right.
chaos ensued for
Right.
24
So
hours.
uh, ended up not having it. We put a post. All of us put posts out on social media talking about it. We like 100 raffle tickets is what we kind of figured out would be the best. $50 a raffle ticket.
Yep.
And well, Tim, how'd that go for you?
Uh, it wasn't even 24 hours, and we sold 100 tickets. And as of right now, I was telling Ben earlier, we have $6,000 that we raised that will go to
That's
backcountry hunters
awesome.
and anglers. Yeah,
In literally
in 24
24
hours.
hours.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And I was talking to Patrick Berry, the president and CEO of BHA, and sent a text to Ryan Callahan from over at Meat Eater, and let them know that the upland community really showed up for this and is as much invested in this fight as anybody else. And both of them were just absolutely blown away. So we're going to do something Monday, Tuesday this coming week with those guys and I don't know, like Patrick's like, we can do a wire transfer. You guys can Venmo. I was like, I don't think you can Venmo $6,000. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
don't know how that's gonna.
Uh, so, but for those of you guys that, and I was honestly blown away. I did that podcast with Katie Willis earlier this week, and I had a bunch of people sending me messages asking what's going on with this public lands. Straight up bullshit is what it is.
Bullshit.
And so apparently there are people out there that aren't on social media every day like the three of us are, that aren't seeing all this stuff in our feeds. So I'm going to run through a little bit of what's going on here. About 2 months ago, I put out a podcast saying that we literally knocked this portion of the bill out of the House reconciliation budget bill. It goes into the big, beautiful bullshit, whatever. I'm not calling it beautiful or whatever it is until after I mean,
We'll just call it
whatever.
big. We'll just call it
It's
big because
it's
it's big.
bullshit. So we put enough pressure on House Republicans to knock this amendment out of that portion of the budget bill. Kind of knowing those of us that follow politics and are paying attention to all the stuff that's going on, and I totally understand. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today. It's very, very, very hard to try to keep up with all this stuff. In fact, it's impossible, and it's really not good for your health. Trust me, I know. I haven't had a good night's sleep in weeks, and like I lay down at night, and all this stuff's going on in my head, and it's an existential crisis as far as I'm concerned. So, Mike Lee is the head of the Natural Resources Subcommittee of the Senate. Mike Lee has been the public lands enemy number one for decades. At least a decade. I can't remember when he first got elected. It's been at least 15 years or
I was
whatever
gonna
it
say,
is.
I think it's 15 years is how long he's been there.
And he's not up for election until 2028. We looked that up the other day, which sucks because, anyways, so in the House form of the bill, it was going to be approximately 1 million acres of public land was on the chopping block. In the Senate, they're like, nah, we're not going to do 1 million. Let's do 3.5 million.
Yeah.
Over not just in Nevada and Utah, but over a pile of states like Alaska, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, California. I mean, all over the place. So that geared everybody back up. And thank God for people like Randy Newberg that are firing up the troops. I mean, just pressure coming from all angles. I was on Mike Lee's Instagram page last night, which
Yeah.
pretty good time.
Everybody
If
should
you
go look at that for
Everybody
sure.
should go look at that because he put a post out spouting all kinds of bullshit about this public land is going to go for affordable housing. Lie number one. There isn't going to be a affordable house built on an acre of this land. It's in some inaccessible places. Is what there is going to be is a lot of mining, a lot of oil and gas, a lot of big beautiful mansions that him and his buddies are going to get to build, all this kind of stuff. But he put this kind of propaganda video out on his Instagram page, and it had like 1,000 likes, but it had like 10,000 comments underneath of there. And that comment section, let me tell you, was wild. It was, I read comments for like 2 hours and I was just like, yes, these are my people.
Yeah.
But it's,
Oh, I lost you. There you go.
the reason that all this stuff is really very important is because this is going to be coming up for a vote in the next 10 days. Like they want to get a vote on this by the 4th of July. It's wildly unpopular. You want to put your little tinfoil hat on? I think they may have sent the National Guard and the Marines into LA to try to kind of sleight of hand this a little bit. They don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. So we've been yelling at people, telling them to call their senators, call senators in all the swing states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. The 2 Republican senators from Idaho came out finally yesterday saying,
Yes,
we're not
they
going to
did.
vote for this thing.
Yep.
Which good for them because
Yep.
they would have been unemployed very soon after this thing gets passed. If
Yeah, they would have been done.
But the 2 senators from Montana cut some sort of what can only be described as some sort of a backroom deal with Mike Lee to exclude Montana from the public land sell-off, which is their thinking is going to give them political cover to vote for this thing. So, which it ain't. Nobody's going to forget this. I won't let them. You guys won't let them. This is going to be something that's going to be coming up for years and years and years after.
And honestly, I don't think the people of Montana are going to let them forget it. I honestly,
yeah, no way.
Because you know what's going to happen after they get this. If they get this passed, they're going to come after Montana next.
Yep.
I don't care what anybody. They're going to come after whatever place they can get.
Right. They're not going to, it's not going to stop at 3.5 million acres. And the other lie that's being told about this is it's being used to pay down our national debt. Pencil it out. 3.5 million acres in some of these inaccessible places. You might be lucky to average $2,000 an acre, maybe.
Yeah.
Best case scenario. Likely it's going to be far less than that. It wouldn't pay 1 hour's interest of our national debt. This is a land grab. Plain and simple.
They did it on the Prairie Farm podcast. He's like, even if we sold 650 million acres at $5,000 an acre, it's only going to be like $3 trillion, which is not even a percent of what our national debt is.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the same bill, the House Republicans also asked for a $5 trillion increase on our debt ceiling. So whatever they're telling you about, we need to be responsible, whatever, I think the best analogy I've seen, I think we talked about it in the last podcast, that I've seen is it's like selling your house to pay off your gambling debts. It's not going to work out well. It's like these people are absolutely under fire from everybody across the political spectrum. All their constituents in their states are freaking out. I've been calling and emailing mine here in North Dakota because my Senator John Hoeven's also on the same Natural Resources Committee that Mike Lee's on. And they're literally trying to sneak one by, and nobody's buying.
100%. And then, I was listening to Cal's Week in Review, and it had on, I can't remember what his name was, but he was talking about, people from Iowa were saying, well, I don't have to worry about it because I don't go to Utah. And it's like, no, you do. You need to worry about it because what happens if they come for, let's just say, if you're in Missouri, let's just say they come for the Mark Twain National Forest. I mean,
Right.
don't
Yeah.
think that that's not on the chopping block too for people in Missouri. You know what I mean? It's like every state has a stake in this, and everybody needs to wake up and pay attention.
Yeah, there's Mearns quail spots in Arizona that I've hunted that are on the chopping block. There's chucker spots in Nevada that I've hunted that are on the chopping block. There's
Yep.
places in Idaho that I've hunted huns on that are on the chopping block. I mean, like, it's very personal, and it's a direct attack. And uh, I I Ben, I swear to God, we're going to get to you, and we're going to talk about your kennels here in a minute. But this stuff's got me a little bit.
No,
wound
I
up.
love this. Yeah, let's
um,
keep going.
But there's some people that are doing a lot better job than others of getting this this story out. One of the things that's very heartening that I've seen here in about the last 3 days or so, there's a lot of quote unquote influencers that are like hikers and these people that are out doing stuff in these national forests and BLM land and everything else that have gigantic followings that have jumped on the bandwagon and are raising the alarm to their literally millions of followers.
Yep. And I also seen some off-roading guys that go to Moab.
Yep.
I actually
Yep.
saw them guys on there. And I mean, that one dude had like 6-7 million followers. Like
Yep.
he's on it
Yep.
too. So, I
Yeah.
mean, like we're
Yep.
getting it from all angles, and
Yep.
I think it's making an impact.
Last night and the day before, I noticed that Cam Haines jumping on this
Yep.
and using his platform in a very good way, corresponding directly with Mike Lee in some of these chats where he's like, "You're just wrong." You know, surprisingly enough, he maintained his temper a little bit better than I would have. I would have been using some adjectives there that probably would have got me banned from that chat, but at the same time, we also have to say there's a couple of we also, I mean, thank God for Randy Newberg. Literally, I mean, he is
Yeah.
on this. He flew to Washington D.C. last week. He is fired up, and I put a comment in one of his posts saying Newberg for Montana Senate. And boy, did
Oh, yeah.
that get some
Oh, yeah.
traction. I mean,
Yeah.
like, seriously,
yeah.
he'd be a fantastic option there.
Hell yeah.
And he could get elected to the state senate there without ever running. I mean, he's a popular guy in that state. He's a former president of Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. I mean, he's
Yep.
got the credentials. And on top of that, he's a very smart, well-spoken guy that can work across party lines when it's a something like this. But there is, to me, there's two voices that we haven't heard a word from yet, and it's bothering me a little bit. We haven't seen a single post from Steve Ranella from Meat Eater. Like, we've seen a lot of stuff on the Meat Eater platform, but nothing directly from him. And that's a little disappointing. He's got a giant audience. I said 5 years ago on a podcast that he might be the current version of TR. He's very well spoken. He's very articulate. And he's been recreating on public lands his whole life, and we haven't seen a post from him yet. And that's a problem. And the other one, obviously, would be really, really nice to see Joe Rogan. You talk about how bow hunting has really changed your life and this and that. You got to say something. You can't stay quiet on this kind of stuff. I mean, this is something that's a big deal for a lot of people, and nobody's going to forget when election time comes up.
Yeah. Yeah, those two. I mean, I don't understand the Steve Ranella thing. I just don't really understand why he has not made a post. But
yeah, the Joe Rogan one, I mean, it's disheartening, but I don't know if he's ever really done anything on public land. Like, I mean, maybe a couple things here and there, but the vast majority of his hunting is all on private land. And you know, not that it gives him any grace, but it's like, at least you understand a little bit. But Steve Ranella is one where it's like your entire ethos of your the entire ethos of your company is public land.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, as the president of that, you know.
Yeah. And we have Ryan Callahan out there that's doing fantastic things.
Yep.
But, you know, and like at the end of the day, it's a numbers game when it comes down to stuff like this. and Cal's got a giant following as well. There's a lot of crossover there between the followers that Cal has and the followers that Ranella has. But Ranella's 3 times, 4 times the size of a platform that Callahan is. And, it doesn't take a lot. I mean, like, you guys literally threw together a raffle. Like, Tim had the idea, Ben jumped on instantly within, a couple hours. We all threw up a little 45-second or a minute-long video. That's all it takes.
Yep.
And, like, nobody's that busy, man. Like, you're just not.
Yeah.
No.
So, anyways,
anyway,
there's my little rant. I'm having my first vodka of the night because I'm hoping to actually get a decent night's sleep tonight. But there's this kind of stuff drives me crazy, and we talked about it when we recorded the long lost episode. But Ben, just kind of talk a little bit about the feelings of the people in Utah. I mean, a lot of outdoors people. Utah's a state with a ton of people that mountain bike and camp and fish and hike and hunt and everything else. And you live there. Question number 1, how the fuck did this guy ever get elected? Question 2, who can we, like, it's Matt Davis 2028, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah,
for sure. Yep,
absolutely. And what's just kind of the feeling of people that around Salt Lake?
Yeah, it's very frustrating because Utah is such a gigantic outdoor state that whether people realize it or not, most of everything that we do in Utah revolves around outdoors, whether it's hiking or going to the lake or, trail running or dirt biking or four-wheeling or hunting or camping or a million other things. Everything revolves around the outdoors in Utah, which is why Utah is so phenomenal. Literally from my house, an hour in any direction, I can be in the deepest timbers, in the thickest forests, to brilliant, bright red rock, to desert, to high mountains, Utah has everything. And the idea that we're going to sell it for this quote unquote, affordable housing is laughable. Like, my buddy Nick and I were talking about it literally yesterday. That there's nobody that can live in these high mountains. Nobody's going to live out in these super remote deserts. There's just nothing there that's going to be affordable housing. Nobody's going to be able to afford to live in the mountains, at 10,000 elevation or whatever. It's all just laughable. Everybody understands it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all, look over here while we do something else.
Right. It's all mining interests and oil and natural gas companies that, you think about it, sure, for, us mere mortals, the thought of $5 billion in a land sale, that seems, like a lot of money to these giant multinational oil companies and mining companies. It's a drop in the bucket. And they're gonna take it. They're gonna take the minerals and extract the minerals out of there, extract the oil and gas out of there. They're gonna log the timber because now it's not just BLM land. It's also national forest. And then they're gonna flip it. They're gonna find the spots that are ultra beautiful and ultra exclusive, and they're gonna charge these people, tens of thousands of dollars an acre to come out there and build a little 160 acre, mansion.
Well, and you've also got, that close to Salt Lake, just over the mountains, one of the biggest ski resorts in the world. Don't think that they're not gonna sell off a mountain valley just to put another ski resort in, because they will do it in a heartbeat.
And the thing that's so aggravating about this is it's all done on this like pretense or this supposed like affordable housing and all this other stuff. And nobody believes that for a second. Like, if you believe that there's going to be affordable housing at 10,000 feet elevation, you're up in the night. And that's the frustrating part is it's
right. The problem is, though, is that it sounds reasonable to the person who doesn't pay attention to this stuff.
Yep.
That's what's scary. That's what's so nefarious about this entire thing is they're like, like in politics, you don't want to be on the wrong side of something that sounds good, right? Wait
Yeah.
a minute, you're totally against affordable housing. That's something that can get you unelected. But like one of the parcels in the House bill that was up that was going to be publicly disposed or whatever, sold off, it was by Winnemucca, Nevada. There's not a giant need for affordable housing in Winnemucca, Nevada. And what we talked about
Yeah.
last week is the one thing that there is a lot of there is lithium deposits. And like that's why they're choosing these parcels. Like it's not
Yeah.
there are strategic minerals in these places that they're already mining out of Nevada and Utah anyways and not having to pay a nickel on. So like the common sense solution to this is to change the Mining Act of 1872 or whatever the hell it was and make these companies like allow them to mine on public land, fine, and make them reclaim it after they're done also, but charge them something for what they're pulling out of the ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like with oil and gas, I think it's like 8% of what they pump out they pay into the Department of the Interior. Do the same damn thing. The other thing that a lot of people are talking about is grazing rights. Like average on national forest and BLM land for grazing rights for cattle, which I have no problem with grazing. I mean, like these ecosystems like blossomed under buffalo, right?
Yep.
Like they need to be grazed periodically. But $1.35 per cow to graze on some of this stuff when the average going rate every place else in these states is $25-$30 a cow.
Yeah.
Like it's laughable. I mean, I'm not saying that we need, that we need to make a ton of money off this stuff, but what I'm trying to get at is just by tweaking some of these things, upping some of these percentages, and making them pay for the lithium that they want to extract from the ground. Maybe jump it from $1.35 a cow to $5-6 a cow. Now all of a sudden, that $5 billion that we would have made off the land sale, we're making that year after year after year on these same acres, plus the other 158 million acres or whatever there is out there that the public already owns. Like it's such a simple solution, but the answer is they don't give a shit. Like it's not about the money. It's just not. And there's no way that they're ever going to sell anybody on this once people actually become aware. And that's why they're trying to do all this stuff without actually talking about the issues. They put it out there in language. There's a soundbite on Fox or MSNBC or CNN or the nightly news, whatever, and people are like, "Yeah, we need more affordable housing. There's a real problem with housing in this country." So if we have to sell a few million acres of public land to get it done, so be it.
Yep.
But they don't dig any farther than that because people are busy.
Watch this hand why I pick your pocket with the other one. Yeah. And and I heard something on it pretty much boils down to like there's only so much dirt in this earth, and once it's gone, it's gone. You're not going to get any more. You can't make any more.
Not making any more.
So once we give it up, it's gone. Literally, it's gone. Yep. And then the other thing is the corner crossing that's going to the Supreme Court. I heard that on a podcast today. Like, if this goes through, then that means that place that's fighting the corner crossing thing, I can't remember, Iron something Ranch or whatever. Now they can buy all that.
It was in Wyoming. It was owned by a guy from North Carolina.
Yeah. So now, I mean, if that goes through, then he's able to buy all that, and nobody's going to cross any corners. And then it's not going to, it's just it can compound so many other things and just wreak havoc on a lot of things
while not fixing a thing.
Not fixing it.
Like the same time that they're, and I was never delusional. I mean, like I was always a little worried about, especially once the new administration started picking cabinet officials. Growing up here in North Dakota, Doug Burgum was a 2-term governor here, basically sponsored by Big Oil. You're going to have that guy lead the Department of the Interior. Really? Okay. Yeah. That's a scary thing to me. The dude who he picked to head the Forest Service had a standoff with Forest Service employees because this piece of shit built a illegal road and illegal cabin on Forest Service land. And when people from the Forest Service were out there working on it, he was flying over them in his helicopter. This is a person you're going to have lead this.
Yeah.
So I was always a little bit, worried about what was going to happen with this administration. I didn't think it was going to get this bad this fast. I mean, we're 130 days into this administration or whatever, and I haven't had 5 good nights sleep in the last 2 months.
Right.
I mean, it's just one fire after the other. And, when they were talking about Doge and getting waste, fraud, and abuse out of the federal government, great. But you don't start with the Park Service. The Park Service makes money. You start with the Department of Defense. It hasn't passed an audit. Well, ever. Never once have they passed an audit. And instead of starting there or starting with Medicaid, Medicare, these gigantic things that have this huge budget, no, we're gonna take the $5 billion that we usually give the Park Service. We're gonna start there, where the Park Service off that $5 billion investment makes $15 billion.
Yeah.
I've never gotten a check from the Department of Defense. If you want to start someplace, start there. And instead, they're going to increase the Department of Defense budget by $150 billion. They're going to make it $1 trillion. That might be a spot that we could trim a little bit of fat. You know what I mean? Like this $5 billion from a land sale just doesn't seem like that much when they're giving out an extra $150 billion to the Pentagon. It just seems like there's certain ways that people could fix things if they wanted to. They just don't want to, and they're just using rhetoric that sounds reasonable to get something wild done.
Yeah, and we can literally stop giving countries money for stupid shit.
Yes.
And
solid idea. Yeah.
How about we start doing that, like all them programs that they just fund, or giving it to colleges and grants for just the dumbest things in the world. I mean, there's some stuff that I know that they want to do in my county that is just absolutely so ridiculous that I want to actually put a bid in it, because I can make a lot of money for doing hardly anything, and the government's willing to pay this much money. It's just the dumbest shit in the world. But
yeah,
and then the other thing is, nobody's even talking about the water. Like, you're going to take all this and you're going to let them mine these high, in the mountains where all of the water for the Western United States comes from.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, are you that? But I come from a state where our water is the shittiest water in the world. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I can't say anything else.
Yeah, there's nothing good to say about it. It's just everything impacts us negatively.
Yeah.
Right. Going back just real quick to what Tim was saying about, funding these foreign wars and everything else, just for context, last year, I'm not talking about, decades ago, last year, the Pentagon overpaid Ukraine by $5 billion in one payment.
The whole Forest Service.
Never asked for it back. That's the entire Park Service budget. And it was just an oversight. Oops. Well, I guess it's gone. We're never going to ask for it back. We're certainly not going to take that $5 billion off the next payment that we're going to give them, in 6 months or 4 months or whatever. Well, it's just gone. Yeah, no big deal. Like the government's very, very good at spending money. They're not very good at spending it on things that actually make sense. And so I just don't trust them. I don't trust them with our money. I don't trust them with our public lands. And anything that we can do to raise this alarm, and backcountry hunters and anglers really leading the charge on this fight. That's why your guys' idea was such a good one. And to be able to raise $6,000 for this thing, it might not seem like a ton of money to most people, but it's pretty dang good for a 24-hour period. And it's pretty good, and there's like you were saying, Tim, there's a lot of people in Iowa that are like, hey, like, it doesn't affect me. It's over there. But the upland community stood up and said, no. Like, not only will we buy some raffle tickets, but there were several people that just donated money that didn't even want to be in the raffle.
Yeah. I mean, an extra $1,000 of people that just donated money that didn't want anything for it. I mean, I'm sending them all a shirt or a hat or something, but it's they didn't want anything. Nick was one of them. Ben, one of your buddies. He sent $100 and he's like, I don't need it. I don't need the dog box. I got, my best friend makes them, so I don't really need one.
Yeah. I had a lot of messages like that of guys that already have a dog box and they were just supporting. They just said, I love what this is. I love that you're doing this.
Yep.
Here's, I got my entries in. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
just such
a great deal.
It's very humbling being a part of something like that, especially in this upland community. The upland community is very special. It's not at all like any of the other hunting industries. It's not like waterfowl. It's not like big game. It's very, very tight knit. It's very
there's no egos.
Everybody's friend. There's no egos. Everybody wants to help. Nobody has any secret, hunting tactics that they don't want to share. They may not broadcast on podcasts or anything, but people are very friendly. People are very engaged. People are very supportive, and it was very humbling. It was awesome to be a part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was blown away. I mean, Tim was, I was working, and Tim's giving us updates. He's like, sold 30, sold 70, 12
Dude,
left. It's like, what?
People I work with were looking over at me like, dude, turn your phone so the screen is not showing, because it was just solid the whole day. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Tim, do you still have your ringtone as Hannah Montana? Is that what people were hearing every time somebody donated?
I'm trying to think of a good song that it could be. Yeah, it's something like that. You know exactly what my ringtone is. It's a rooster pheasant going off. So
yeah.
So every time we walk, it kind of makes you stay on your toes a little bit. Makes you stay on your toes.
Yeah. Shouldn't you change that so it's a rooster pheasant flushing and then boom boom? Fuck.
Yeah,
that'd be a lot more accurate.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you watch enough videos, you see that. There's a couple times.
Hey, I edit videos too, and I very seldom do I show myself missing. So I mean, good for you. Either you miss a lot more than the average person, or you just have care about your image less than I do, I guess.
You gotta be a little authentic, because you can't make people think that you're such a great shot until they hunt with you, and then you want to rob them of every single bird that they have come up.
Is that well, I mean, Travis does that.
Well, I mean, good Lord. If he
makes everybody feel good about his shooting.
It is, that's what, and that's what he does. That he makes everybody feel good.
He's a good dude.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can see the video of that first day that we went and hunted, man, oh man. Then he blames me for the sight being bent. Yeah, that brand
crooked gun.
That brand new what, 828, or whatever it is, that Benelli over under. Yeah. You just can't shoot, Trav.
I've watched that dude make some of the most incredible shots, and I've seen him miss some birds where I was like, "Did you have a stroke right there?" Or like, what was that? I watched his dog Daisy point a pheasant when he was up here hunting with me in North Dakota a couple years ago, and probably 3 years ago now. And I mean, he walks up, that bird flushes at 3 feet and flies directly straight away from him, and he missed the first shot, and then I saw him panic. And then he airmails, and he literally just laid the gun down on the ground, put his head between his legs, and I thought he was going to cry for a minute. Now, there may be something to the conspiracy theory that's why that episode never came out. He said the footage got lost.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see. But, I watched him shoot good all week long that week, and then all of a sudden, that one particular bird, I was like, you all right? You doing all right, bud?
Yeah. I had one this year that was like that, and it still haunts me.
Yeah.
I've got a bad one.
We do.
We were at a pheasant. Yeah, we were at a pheasant preserve, and they do this hunt at the end of the year where it's like a free roam hunt. They release all the extra birds. And it's a total riot. You just tons and tons of birds.
Murder.
And so I was hunting. It was phenomenal. It was so fun. And my dog goes on point, and we're hunting with a bunch of buddies and all their dogs. So my dog's on point. There's 4 other dogs honoring my dog. And I have these Ray-Bans, those Metas. So I'm recording the whole thing, and I'm walking in. Everything's picture perfect. And this bird gets up, and I just completely whiff it. And it was, I'm like, nobody will ever see that video. That one gets deleted instantly.
I'm gonna have your wife send it to me.
And everyone's like, what happened? And I'm on, it's a preserved bird, so I'm 5 feet from it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my gun's crooked.
It was flying too slow. Is that a thing? Can it fly too slow?
I let it too far. Yep, exactly right.
Yep.
Yeah, I have done that before. Here in North Dakota, I've had sharp tails that get up and they're flying into like a 25, 30 mile an hour headwind. And like the first shot, you just know that you shot in front of it. And then they start turning into that wind and gaining speed, and then you have to swing back or speed back up again. Yep. And at the end, like the end of the flush, you're like, well, that wasn't so good. We should probably just go on back to the pickup after that. The dogs are looking at you a little funny. But I had one in Nevada this year chasing chuckers. I got a 28 gauge semi-auto, one of the really pretty legacy silver receiver whatevers, and I got it literally to go hunt chuckers. I was like, man, first of all, they're fantastic eating. Second of all, I want to kill as many of them as I can. I'm going to be here for 5 days. If I can shoot 4 shells or 5 shells, I'm going to run all of them through there because there are some big coveys out there. Well, being a fat guy walking up those hills, occasionally you need a little walking crutch. You need some hiking poles. Well, on those dang Benellis, that action's so loose. You set it down, and that action will come back just a touch, just enough where it won't fire. And I had my young dog Jesse locked up on this beautiful point, and a covey of like 30 chuckers start going off in 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and I pull up, and the first time the old Benelli click, and I about took that thing like a javelin and just chucked it off the cliff. I was so mad. I watched 30 birds flush over 2 minutes, and after the first click, I was like, nope, done. I'm not even going to try to get another shell in this thing. I'm not going to try to fix it right now. I need to settle down, get the dog, calm down, then we'll go hunt singles after that. That's what we did. But
that's the only downfall of those guns. That and sometimes the cold weather, but that click sucked.
I sent mine to Boss. They're doing some gunsmithing over there, and they put one of the heavier duty Wolf springs in there.
Yep.
It's going to make it cycle faster. It's going to keep that action closed when you just in case you do set it down or whatever. Right. But after that, I'll tell you right now, I was neurotic. Every time, I'm pushing that action forward constantly, making sure that sucker was seated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping that Wolf spring kind of fixes that problem. I haven't got it back yet. It's done. I just haven't got it back yet. So
yeah, that was crane hunting this whole year. This year, that's all I was doing with that Benelli of mine. I was just pushing that thing forward, just make sure that it's closed.
Yeah, you were whacking some cranes. I was out in the garage the other night playing some pool out there, watching some of your videos from when you were hunting up here in North Dakota with Steve. They're pretty.
The funny thing about Steve and his brother, we're in the blind together, and I can maybe play 5 total minutes of what the conversations are in that blind. We were talking about that the other day, Chad and I were, because we got this inside joke of some Australian licorice. We say it to each other all the time, and he just sends me the message of a picture of the licorice at Fleet Farm. There's 1,000 bags of this licorice, and I'm like, God damn it. I said, we got to make sure that we clean up our language a little bit this year, fellas, because we can't put hardly any of it out without playing music over top of it.
Right.
Those guys are hilarious.
Well, you can put it out. It just gets it can demonetize your YouTube channel.
Yeah, it definitely would. There's enough F-bombs in there.
Risks.
Yeah, there's enough F-bombs in there that it's definitely not for children. That's for sure.
Right.
Put on Patreon or something.
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. I often wonder how they judge that. I don't know if it's within the first 5 minutes, or if you're allowed, if it's PG-13 where you're allowed 2 F words over the course of however many minutes. There's no real clear rules, and they just say, well, it passed, so you post it. but
Yeah,
whatever.
well, I mean, same as social media too. It's same thing,
Right. Right.
for all the crap that TikTok does to where it's just horrible for hunters and I mean they're consistent. You got a gun in there, it's
Mhm.
not going on. Well, unless it's an AI gun,
Right.
and then you're
Right.
good. But
Right.
if it's a real gun, you're not. It's taken
Yeah,
down instantly.
I had TikTok for 3 days, and every video I posted got deleted, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I guess I'll just go ahead and delete this app. There's
Yeah.
no need for that. Somebody had convinced me. They're like, man, just take videos of your dogs, like show the bird flush, delete the shot. I
That's
was
all
like,
I do.
well, that's fine,
Yep.
And so I did that for a while, and even some of those got taken down and flagged. And
Yeah.
I was like, there's nothing offensive about this. It's a pretty dog standing on point and a pheasant flushing.
Yeah, and there's not. I mean, to be honest with you, there's nothing offensive about shooting a bird. I don't care what anybody
No.
says. I mean that
Oh,
we've
it's
done it
very
for.
offensive to me. If somebody else shoots a bird.
Well, yeah, we know that. We know that. Especially if it's Wes or George, we can't have them guys. What are they doing today?
They went into Palermo to go eat steak, I think.
Oh.
So George got his power ran today, which
Nice.
I mean, well, he had all the power already ran in there, but a buddy of mine and mine had some electrician had to come out, put a quick disconnect on the outside of the house, and then run the main power in. That's the only thing that George couldn't do. That had to be done by a licensed electrician. So they got all that stuff done today. But so I didn't tell you guys this. When all the raffle was going wild, I was down in the Badlands and I kidnapped George. And we went down there. My buddy Bray Meyer, he called me and asked me. He said, "We're kind of in a pickle here. We're branding calves, and there's 3 of us. Can you come down?" And I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing, but sure, like I'm
Right.
always down for a little bit of an adventure." So I walked out to the house where George is working. And I was like, "George, play hooky for the rest of the day. Let's go down and brand calves down in the Badlands." And he's like, "All right,"
Yeah.
his mustache started twitching a little bit. He's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we get down there. I've never done anything like that. And I will tell you that some of these calves,
Oh yeah.
they straight up cows. I mean, like they were born in April, but I mean, the average one weighed about 350 pounds.
Oh
And
yeah.
the big ones weighed about 400 and a quarter. And I got kicked in the shin. I got kicked in the gut.
Oh yeah.
I had cow shit all over me.
Oh yeah.
We were pushing them into the whatever the hell, the cradle, and 150 of those things we did in 4 hours. And the last 25 were the only ones that they used horse for, where they'd actually go out, rope them, drag them over.
Yep.
At that point, I was like, yeah, I'll do this all day.
Yeah.
I'm never going back in that pen again.
Yeah.
I've been sore for 4 days
Yeah.
or 3 days now. Like my arms, my chest, my shoulders, my inner thighs. Like, I mean, those things were a friggin' handful.
Oh yeah.
So I got a couple of them in there, and I was like, "George, batter up, son. Like, get in here." He's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm all set. I'll just." He's like, I got a fake hip, a fake shoulder, a bad back. I'm tired." And he's like, "All set. I'll stand out here and I'll pull a gate when we can let another one in." I was like, "Yeah, it's probably fair." About 5 minutes later, a big bull calf that was a real handful. I had a hold of him by the ear and by the base of the tail, and I'm just holding him there as best I can, and he's bucking and kicking and everything else. All of a sudden, he kind of pushes back on me a little bit, and then he like jumps up, and he almost jumped out of the end of the pen, and he missed George's face with that front hoof by about that far. George said he felt the wind go across his mustache, and I was like, "Yeah, you're probably better out here." But when they were roping and dragging the calves over, George was over there like playing point guard, tried to make sure that there was no other calves running out of the pen or anything like that. It was great. It was so much
awesome.
fun.
God,
that's awesome.
Damn it, I wish I was up there. That would have been fun as hell.
It's fun for a while, but I'll tell you, 90 degrees, fat, and sweating like a pig, man. I was so tired when we got done there. I was like, man, that might have been the only day I slept well since this whole public land debacle got started.
Yeah, did that a few times with somebody. So they don't play fair. They don't play fair.
No, No. And like I said, next year I said you guys just need to invest in some collars and put some collars on these little fuckers, and we can get a hold of that collar. Like that ear when they start twisting a little bit. I was like, man, like I can grab a dog collar and a handful of tail, and I can do whatever I want with that dog. It don't work that way with a calf. I'm telling you.
There's Garmin's new collar is going to be for calves. GPS and stimulation. Right. You betcha.
Hey Ben, I got a question for you.
Yeah,
are you familiar with a company called Aquatraction?
No.
It goes in the bottom of a boat. It's
no.
It's a foam that you rip out all the carpet. Or you're not filming off your phone, are you? You're on a computer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Grab your phone and just look up Aquatraction on Instagram quick. I got an idea, and I'm wondering if it's something that maybe you guys could do. So it's a foam like non-slip mat that cleans up really nice. You can pressure wash.
Yeah, I've seen this before, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like that, it's flooring for boats. But one of the things that they did that gave me a really good idea, they actually cut some for camper steps. Metal camper steps, where everybody slips and falls on those dang things. One of the things I was thinking about, and I have no idea if it's, I know you guys got a bunch of cool tools over there and you're more of a metal fabricator than anything else. I'd like one of those mats on my tailgate for dogs. Something that you can get up there where the dogs aren't slipping and sliding around. You can kind of customize that with whatever color you wanted, have some kind of, some Onyx topo lines or, the Bearded Uplander logo or whatever. Yeah. It'd be a safety thing for dogs, where they could jump up there. They can actually sit there and without slipping and sliding, especially when you get a little bit of snow underneath them or something like that. But, I'm just saying it's I love that idea. That's great. They're a North Dakota company, and I'm gonna chat with them about it a little bit. But when you get a good idea, you don't want to give things away for free. So I was like, maybe my buddy Ben Proctor could make something like that, and then cut me in on that little deal a little bit or something.
Let's do it. That sounds awesome,
man. Like I mean, it can't be that hard. I mean, it's got to be, I have no idea what goes into it, but I mean, like putting something on the tailgate, on the front of the tailgate that's non-slip, that you can pressure wash off, something that looks nice, everything else. God dang, I think that'd be a good idea for bird dogs.
If you get their contact information, send it over. Let's have a chat between all of us.
Yeah, I know the guys. In fact, they're going to come on the Prairie Tales podcast in about a week and a half. So yeah, I mean, we can certainly do something like that. It's just something that I know that I would use a lot, and being able to pressure wash off, something that would take a nice picture on, it'd be highly customizable, and it wouldn't be, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I mean, you could probably sell a section of that that's customized for $200, probably $25 worth of material. You know what I mean? I mean, there's probably a pretty good markup on that.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
But
yeah. That sounds awesome. Well, I'm in.
If you got crazy dogs like we have that absolutely jump up in the tailgate right away, it's
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't leave my tailgate open. I can't leave my tailgate down, and I can't leave my doors open on my pickup at all. Yeah. If I do that, my dogs are either in the cab of my truck or in the box of a pickup. Doesn't matter if we're parked in the yard or what we're doing.
Yep.
But yeah.
Same.
Anyways, just one of those thoughts. I have.
I love it. Yeah.
Sometimes, and then I just have no like. I'll tell you my other really good idea. And if you know anybody that's a computer programmer, this seriously, no kidding, is like a $10 million idea per year. I would like to change the voice of my GPS to sound like Samuel L. Jackson, or anybody. Like it could be literally anybody, like an old black lady from the South. It could be Willy Wonka, whatever. I mean, like I'd pay $10 a month to have Samuel L. Jackson yell directions at me through the speakers.
Just him saying, driving down the interstate. I just want him to call me a dumb motherfucker. That's all I want.
Right. That's all I want. Exactly. You missed your exit, dumb motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But anyways,
I'm sure AI is probably
computer programmer. I've had that idea for about 15 years. I was like, dude, how much fun would it be to have the Betty White give you directions?
Oh yeah.
Turn left.
It can't be that hard.
It'd be great.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure AI.
I'm sure AI is probably on it.
I'm down. I'll pay $10 a month for it. Just saying.
After seeing all these Sasquatch videos, it's absolutely
Those crack
Those
me
are
up,
so
dude.
good.
Those are so
Those are
funny.
so good.
that one that I
Yeah.
posted the other day. I'm like, and this is not me. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm taking a selfie. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think it was a public lands one, and I wanted
one-
to put hashtag stop tagging me, but I didn't really want to do that because it was something that was important.
One of the other things that we talked about in the other podcast that I've been thinking quite a bit about, Ben, was with my new pickup with that power boost.
Yeah.
The different things that you guys could do to build a box with that onboard generator system on there. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before, and it truly, really could be endless. I mean, you could have heat, you could have
Yeah.
AC, you could have as many lights as you wanted. You could, you were joking about having a microwave and an air fryer. We could do all that stuff. I mean, literally, if
Yeah.
a guy wanted to, and I can't get it out of my mind. It's stuck in there, like all the different cool things that we could do on that. You could run Starlink off of it. You could have
Starlink or
Starlink,
like a little mini split to
Yeah.
do heating and cooling.
right? Right.
That's been like our biggest hurdle lately has just been kind of the whole method of how we build our dog boxes and why we build them the way that we do is so that they're removable, so that a lot of the slide ins that the competition makes, they are hardwired into your truck. You're running wires up into the engine bay. It's not an easily removable thing. So if you need to use your truck, it's kind of a pain in the butt versus us where it has its own self-contained power source. And that's kind of been our shtick, so to speak, is that you can have a work truck Monday through Friday, throw your dog box in. You don't even have to hook it up to your truck, but you have power in it. But going back to what you're saying with some of these newer trucks where they have a power plug right in the bed, you could have a little bit more features like an AC unit, a heater,
Right.
Starlink, things like that, where it's just got a port and you just plug the whole thing right into your bed, and it's still just as easily removable.
Right. And I mean, I can run 220 out of the box in my truck.
That's
I
wild.
can't imagine. I can't imagine that we'd ever put enough power to it where you'd need to run 220 to that.
Yep.
But I mean, even still, it's got two 110 power plug-ins in the box of the truck, and it has a 220. And then I got a button on my dash that once something's plugged into it, I can on the touch screen or whatever, I can say, accept, turn on power to the box or whatever. And
Yep.
like it's god dang, I mean, like you could just make it so it just literally just like a 110 adapter plug in, and you unplug it, pull the box out, and you're good for the rest of the week.
Yeah. Yep. I think we ought to dabble with that a little bit.
I think we might have to. Tim at the same time is over there saying, I need to get a new pickup, and god dang, that
100% I need to get a new.
Yeah, like
I
on the
hate
way
to-
back from Missoula, I had a little tailwind that I made. I made it from Missoula, Montana home, which was 700 and some miles on a tank of fuel. I made 25.6 miles per gallon.
That's pretty damn
So
good.
it's a wild little truck, and dude, like
Yeah.
that's the fastest truck I've ever owned in my life. 450 horsepower and almost 600 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
It is crazy. You put that thing in sport mode and just hang the hell on, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, the only
That's
thing hanging
awesome.
me up is that new mini turbo diesel that GMC has. Kid that I work with has one.
Really nice. Yeah.
37 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, I got a couple friends. My buddy Bruce has got one. My buddy Alex has got one. They're having some kind of reliability problems though.
Yeah, the early ones. If you get it after 23, you're in a lot better shape.
Oh, Bruce's is a 24,
and he's having
23
problems.
or 24. And when we were driving back from Nevada, he got into Iowa someplace and it broke down, and it went into limp mode. It was some sensor in the engine, and he went into limp mode for 35 miles. It wouldn't go over 15 miles an hour. Got it to a dealership, and that was the end of December, and he didn't get it back until the first week of March.
Ooh.
Like the part was back ordered for that long. So I
There's
mean, like, there's no
one.
perfect truck out there for
No.
sure, and I'm certainly not a like a diehard Ford guy. But and there's
Yeah.
so many things on this hybrid that can absolutely go wrong so fast and
Absolutely.
change my opinion on everything.
I mean,
But
there
I
was
do have
one factor in that whole thing of Bruce's. He went through Nebraska. I mean, that is the factor. Like,
right.
he went through that dump.
Well, but it happened in Iowa. So what does that say about your
Well, no,
state?
he had to go through Nebraska.
Yeah.
So it just
Sure.
happens that he ended up in this crap state of Iowa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll agree with you. It's crap
So,
state.
Ben, what are you running for a pickup, and what's your dog box setup look like?
So I just got not a new truck, but just a newer one, a newer Chevy.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, I like those. Those are the
Me too.
For me, that kind of just fits the mold. It seems like most metal fabricators run diesels, but I've never had a need for a diesel.
Right.
So, anyways, just a little half ton. And then I've got a couple different dog boxes that I'll run throughout the year. But for the most part, I just run my big 3-hole that I have. That's the exact same model that Tim has. I'm building a new one for us this year. Building a new one for Tim as well. And so, yeah, that's just all that I do. And then throughout the year, for the most part, I run it right up against the cab because I'm hunting a couple times a week. And then when I go on my bigger trips, I'll pull it all the way back and I'll run it right at the tailgate where I'm in and out of the truck, multiple times a day.
Sure.
And that's the nice flexibility about these dog boxes is you can kind of float them wherever you need in the bed. Whether you're in and out all the time, you put it right at the tailgate. If it's more of like a weekend warrior thing, shove it right up against the cab, have the whole bed to be utilized. So, yeah.
Well, the other thing too, with and when I'm running kennels in my pickup, I kind of do the same thing, like just removable kennels, right? Like if I'm on a long trip, when I'm on that big 6-week road trip or whatever, I'll put my dog boxes all the way up to the front of the truck when we're traveling. Just it's a little bit of a safety thing. It's a lot safer, if you get rear-ended or even if you, God forbid, have a rollover or something like that, you have a lot more stuff there that's going to protect the dogs. But when I get to a place, I'll pull them up and I'll strap them down right in front of the tailgate, and then I can still put cooler or whatever else I need to, behind them where you still have that, that excess room when you're getting in and out of the truck and pushing a bunch of dogs out every day. It does. I mean, because I'm a tall guy, but you're reaching even into a 5.5-foot box to open up a door is still quite a reach. And like we mentioned earlier, those tailgates get slippery sometimes.
And the nice thing, like, so our 3-hole that I have that Tim has also, Tim's got a dog, Ansel. He's just a big dog. I don't think you could really double up a dog in our 3-hole with somebody with a dog like Ansel. But my 2 dogs, I actually have 3 dogs now, but my 2 short hairs, one's 70 pounds and one's 45, 50 pounds. I can double them up in that 3-hole very comfortably. In fact, a couple of years ago, we did a trip from Utah to South Dakota, and it was like right during this like ice storm. Like it was just the worst week to be out there, and it was just freezing cold. And I just doubled up my dogs the whole time for 10 days, and they did phenomenal. There was no issues. They weren't cramped. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's got so many.
Ansel's leggy.
He's leggy. He's really
leggy, and he's thick like a horse. He's huge.
A big bastard. But yeah, he definitely needs his own. There's no doubt about it. But let's be honest, when I go on a long road trip, they ride up front for the trip.
How big is Ansel?
I think he's just under 80 pounds.
Is he really that big? He's just so leggy. He doesn't look that big.
He was 75 like 2 months ago when I took him to the vet. So
Sure.
I'm sure
I mean, but
he's a little fatter now. But I mean,
but I
during
mean,
hunting
like,
season, we're talking 70 probably.
but I mean,
Yeah.
with my two girl dogs, CJ's 38 pounds and Jesse's
Yeah.
41. I could double those two up. No
Double
yeah.
them up all day long. Yep.
And like I mentioned before, Rusty doesn't need to ride in the back of the truck no more.
Rusty didn't ride
he's
back.
Yeah.
he's a gazillion years old, and he's a legend, and he's my best friend. So he gets to ride in the back seat in a portable dog box. But, you know, if we're
Yeah.
just out hunting for a day, he can ride in the back, and he still likes to ride in the back.
Yeah.
He just doesn't quite have the leg strength to jump up that high anymore. Nor
Jump
do
up.
I let him.
Yep.
Right.
You know, and one of the other things that talking about dogs jumping in and out of trucks, I don't let any of my dogs jump out of the back of the pickup anymore. Like when they come out of the dog box, I'm just, first of all, there's safety issues for cars a lot of places. First things my
Yeah.
dogs do when I open up, like going over my whole ritual, I guess, when I get out of the truck. First thing I do, I get out of the truck, put my vest on, grab my collars, turn the collars on, put them up on top of the truck so that way I can make sure they're connected satellite, turn on my transmitter, all that kind of stuff. Make sure I got shells, GoPro, everything else before I even come close to letting a dog out. Then after I got all that stuff done, I set my gun in between the cab and the box of the pickup, so it's kind of setting up, nice and safe. Walk over, get a dog out of the dog box. That dog sits on the tailgate, gets a collar put on it, then it gets lifted down to the ground. And like maintaining contact with that dog the whole time, gets down on the ground, either make it sit or heel or whatever, and then we kind of come up with a game plan, whatever, to take off. But I was thinking about it the other day. I was watching somebody down at the lake. They had a lab that was typical lab. I mean, like I love labs, but I mean, this is a 85, 90 pound, not in fantastic shape,
Right.
but a super nice dog. I was down there putting my boat in. Dog came running up, jumped in the boat. I was petting its ears, jumped off the boat into the dock. And anyways, but I watched that dog jump out of a kennel in the back of a truck, and the truck had like a 3-inch lift kit on it, down to the pavement. And,
Yep.
you could kind of see its shoulders buckle and stuff like that a little bit. And I just I kind of made a little mental note. I look at all the things as a cumulative. We hunt a lot. Our dogs put on a ton of miles. They work extraordinarily hard for us. That little extra second that it takes for you to lift a dog off the tailgate, especially when they start getting older, but I mean all the time, you can tear ACLs. It wears on the joints. It's hard on the back. It's hard on the ankles. It's hard on the knees, all that kind of stuff. It just doesn't take any extra effort on our part, and it's going to help that dog just kind of last. You know what I mean?
There's a way. There's a reason that we climb fences different than we did when we were in our 20s, buddy.
Yeah.
There's no hopping over no fences anymore. No. I'm gonna try my best to find a gate.
Right. I remember running down wounded rooster pheasants and like tackling them. Shells aren't that expensive, man.
Nope.
That bird, as long as there's no other bird dogs in the near vicinity, and if I get a clear shot at that thing running on the ground while the dog's still standing, that thing's getting tapped. I ain't chasing you. No. I'll bring the dogs over and we'll give it a good hard look. But sometimes those pheasants get away, but I ain't running.
No.
Yeah.
I like to hunt a lot, and if I go into a badger hole, this doesn't stop real fast.
No.
So, there's safety concerns for me and everybody else around me when I start running.
Yeah, because those guys got to get us up. That's the problem.
Right. Right.
We don't hang out with a whole lot of really big guys to be able to get our asses back up in the air.
No, it's going to take several. Yeah. We're already over an hour, fellas.
Yeah.
Let's
hour 4.
Let's right. Let's kind of give some parting thoughts. Timmy, let's have you go first. I got the Senate switchboard number here is going to be my final thought, but I want to give Ben a little bit of time since we didn't actually get a chance to talk a whole heck of a lot about his product, even though it's freaking awesome.
Yeah. I just want to thank everybody that came out and showed up for us with this giveaway. I mean, they're gonna get a kennel that is state of the art, second to none. They're gonna love it. Just it was amazing to see everybody show up, and I can't thank them enough for it. So our community is the best community, and
Uh,
we're not giving up. We're not giving up.
no, no. All the signs are kind of pointing to the fact, like Newberg thinks that we're going to beat it. And we have the momentum. We have the big Mo on our side.
Well, and the crazy thing was a week ago he didn't.
Right.
He didn't think we
Right.
were going to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think yesterday was a big day with getting those two Idaho Republican senators
Yes.
to stand up and say, "Hey, we're not
Yeah.
going to vote for this."
Yep.
So that was a huge day. Everybody, please call the Senate switchboard. One of the things that I got a little tip from somebody who's actually in politics. Spend some time and call your the swing state senators, not just your own senators. All the Democrats are going to vote against this thing. So if you live in a swing state and you have a Republican senator, you need to call them. I got a list here of the swing state, the swing states that we need to be focused on. While I'm pulling that up, you can get a hold of the Senate switchboard at 202-224-3121. And what I've been doing is I've just been going through and I've been calling my senators because both North Dakota senators here are Republicans. Both of them are. Kevin Kramer's a pile of shit. I hope he listens to this. He's one of the worst people that's ever existed ever. He's going to vote for it 100%, but I think that we can change John Hoeven's mind. He does seem like somebody that legitimately cares and has a conscience. And, you know, maybe if he sees that this is important to people, I think we can change his mind. But it says more important to call swing state Republican senators: Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, Montana, and Alaska. Those are the ones that we need to flip. And since we already flipped the Idaho ones, that one's off the list. But Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, Montana, and Alaska. I'm focusing on Montana because I have a hunting license over there every single year.
Yep.
And is what I've been doing is I've been reminding them of the economic impact that people like me have on these small rural communities in Montana.
Right.
I've been accused many times of being very good for the economy. I tend to go out to the restaurants. I tend to go out to the bars, tend to buy drinks for locals because I'm trying to get access to private stuff as well as public stuff. Sleep in hotels, all the gas, snacks at the gas station, all that kind of stuff. These, like the hunter dollars, are crucial to states like Montana and these small communities, especially eastern and central Montana. And that's where Tim Sheehy's from. He's the eastern senator in Minnesota or in Montana. So that's what I've been doing, is making sure that they understand that if they vote for this, I'll just, I won't go over there anymore.
Yep.
I'm being respectful. I'm being as nice and cordial and trying to get my message across as I can. I've been leaving messages. You almost never get somebody in person, but if you do, just kind of have what you're going to say to them and kind of saved up in your head.
Yeah, if you go listen to Cal's Week in Review, they went over that. They went over like what to say, like be polite. You don't. I mean, you can get your point across by not being rude, because they're not going to listen to that whole message if you're, calling them a cocksucker the whole time.
I'm going to, if they vote for this.
Well,
I'm going to go back and I'm going to call
all
the same people, and
different.
the messages I leave are going to be very different.
Yep.
It's not going to be threatening, but it's also not going to be kind. So I may be North Dakota nice, but there's also a bit of a temper built up over some of these things. And be nice until it's time to not be nice. And then we need to do a very good job of remembering who these people are that vote for this thing.
Yep.
And when they're up for election in 26 or 28, It's our job to make sure these guys are
Absolutely.
men and women are on the unemployment line.
Absolutely.
We're not going to let them get away with this. It doesn't matter what the letter behind their name is. It doesn't matter anything else.
Nope.
They're not voting in our interest as a hunting community.
Yep. I've been a lifelong conservative, and I stripped myself of that. It's now an I behind my name, and I don't care what party is what. It's just a straight I behind my name.
Yep. Ben, spend a little bit of time here. We really glossed over it. You've been on the podcast before. We talked a lot about your products. Just kind of give everybody just kind of the elevator pitch on what you do at B Pro Kennels.
Yeah, thanks so much. And just to reiterate, just like everybody else, just beyond humbled that we were able to raise so much money in such a short amount of time. Just beyond grateful to be a part of this community and to build friendships and develop, relationships with people. But yeah, at B Pro Kennels, we just started out we have a metal shop that we build all sorts of stuff for random clients. And that's been a big part of my whole past is, doing anything from big structural steel beams to, pharmaceutical grade stainless steel pipe, anything and everything in between. And this kind of just started out as a passion project, just building dog boxes for myself. And then I would throw them up on the local classifieds and I'd sell it and I'd build another one for the next year. And honestly, it just kind of snowballed from there. But from conception, it's been, I would see these other dog boxes that were made out of metal and they just looked cheaply made. And not to say that there's not really nice ones out there, because there are. But the vast majority of people that have metal dog boxes, they go get them from their local ranch supply store, or their sporting goods store, and they're cheap. And it's just sheet metal that's bent together and welded, and there's no structure to it. There's no safety. Very unsafe. If you were to get into a wreck, they would just crumble like a soda can. And honestly, that kind of bothered me. As a fabricator, I would see these and I would kind of get a little irritated that they were kind of disrespecting our craft by building such poor quality. And I get it, it's all money, and they can punch these out and make good margins on them. But that's where I started. Was we built a roll cage first. So it's all out of 1-inch aluminum tubing that's 1/8 of an inch thick. It's like on the dog box that Tim has, there's over 100 feet of tubing that's all welded and bent together to form this very rigid and safe dog box. And because of the way that we do it, we're able to add insulation between a lot of the walls. And so we can double wall a lot of the walls and create insulation and safety attachments and safety, whatever the word is that I'm thinking of, just little latches and knobs and drop pins and things like that for added safety. And then the other really fun thing that we do is we powder coat them. Powder coating is an incredibly industrial and rugged and durable product and process where they bake the powder into the metal, and it's very, very durable. And that's the other flip side to that, is it needs to be safe, but also if it's going to ride in the back of your truck, it needs to look the part. It needs to look nice. It needs to look classy and elegant and professional. And a lot of guys take pride in their dogs and their gear and their guns and the brands that they rep, and they don't want something ugly in the back of their truck. And so in addition to being safe, it also needs to look presentable and look professional and look like it adds to the truck and adds to the overall appearance rather than detracting from it and looking just like a regular toolbox. And so with that, we have a couple different models. We have some that fit the mid-size trucks, the Tacomas and Frontiers. We have some that fit the side-by-sides, and then we fit full-size pickups. We have anything from a 2-hole to a 3-hole. Anything outside of that we can still do, but that falls more into the realm of like our custom work, where there's not a big enough need to really make that a standard or a staple product, because everybody in the custom world wants a little bit different. If you want 4 holes or 5 holes, or a big giant one that pulls out on a cargo glide, all those things are a little bit more custom. And rather than fitting you into what we think would fit you, we'd rather just build it exactly how you'd want. So we have our standard offerings, and then we have our custom ones. And then our standard ones have just a bunch of different options that you can pick from between lights and powder coat, insulation, things like that.
Nice.
I'm gonna tell you one
they're
thing.
awesome.
Those lights are a literal game changer for you at night when you're
Oh yeah,
getting the dogs, either putting them to bed when you're on a long trip or trying to feed them or just checking them over at the end of the day. Those lights are so damn bright too. It's noticeable how much you can use those things.
I use them for everything, whether they're cleaning birds on the tailgate to like working on stuff at the house. You know, if I need light, I'll go to the tailgate, drop the tailgate, turn the lights on, and then I'll just fiddle with it, whatever I'm working on right there on the tailgate.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. We talked about it before, but I remember the first time I met you and first time I seen your product was at Pheasant Fest in like 2020 or whatever it was. It was in Omaha, I think.
Yep.
And I walked past, you were right across the aisle from the Flush booth, and I was over there talking with those guys, and I kept on like staring over at those boxes, and I was like, God damn, those things are nice. So anyways, it's awesome to be friends with you and to see how your journey's gone, and the products that you guys put out are just absolutely unbelievable.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both for putting together this raffle to help raise money to fight something that all three of us are very passionate about. You know, $6,000 might seem like a drop in the bucket, but gosh dang, 24 hours is something that's pretty dang impressive. To be able to put together that kind of funds from people. You know, it's one of those things that's why people like Tim and I do this and why we use our voice the way that we use it. And you know, when there's something that's worth getting fired up about, we're going to be on the front lines every time. So thanks everybody out there that did donate and become a part of this. If anybody would still like to just kick in a few bucks for the fight, go over to Tim's the Bearded Uplander Instagram page. He's got his Venmo information right there on his page. If you page down through a couple of the last posts, we'll certainly be grateful to get anything that we can get, and we're going to get all that money to backcountry hunters and anglers here in just the next couple of days. So thanks, huge thanks to the Upland community. Thanks to both of you guys. Tim, we're not getting off here until this thing downloads this time, because this one,
this one's a good one. This one's a good one. Yeah. Hopefully this new app that we've got going on, hopefully it's worth the money that we spent on it, but it should be. So. It should be.
Well, I'll tell you, while we're sitting here waiting, I'm going to go mix another cocktail because I'm getting some sleep tonight. I'm telling you right now, I haven't had a good night's sleep in so long. It's unreal.
Oh, that's good. But
all right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Hopefully
awesome.
You guys
thanks so much, guys.
Absolutely, Ben. You're welcome to come back on anytime. And one of these goddamn days, we have got to get out and actually hunt together. You've been up here in North Dakota. I'm starting to feel like you just don't like me that much. And, you know, that's, I'm just kidding.
Now we know where you live. We're going to come TP your house.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Hey, you know, hey, whatever. TV's expensive. Sometimes you need some extra.
It is,
I'll go out there and clean that stuff.
We'll come drop some off to you.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for listening. We will talk to you guys very, very soon.